Indonesia is a beautiful country with beautiful landscapes, beautiful beaches, beautiful temples. However, one thing about Indonesia you might not know is it also has flexers. And this is coming from me, one of the biggest flexers of all time. But the reason I say Indonesians are flexers is because there's a situation going on in Indonesia right now that you probably haven't heard of, and that's a trend of renting. Not renting houses, not renting cars, but renting phones. But not just any phones, iPhones. Renting iPhones is the latest trend in Indonesia, and it's taken over the internet. Today we're going to be diving into this, trying to work out why Indonesians are doing this, how much it costs, and then towards the end of the video we're also going to look into the other items that Indonesians are renting, and trust me, you're going to stay to the end because some of these items are wild. Guys, welcome back to the second channel. We're back at it again. The other day I was just on Twitter scrolling through and I saw this tweet: renting phones makes no sense to me. And it's a screenshot of a YouTube video that says why Gen Z Indonesians are renting premium smartphones instead of buying them. So when I saw this I was like, what? This does make no sense to me. So I decided to look into it. This right here is Rizza, and this is an iPhone 11. This is Rizza's favorite phone. But in 1 hour's time, I'll have to return it because she's renting it. And this guy is who she's renting it from. As you can see, he pulls up to the spot with an iPhone 11 in a weird protective bag. Rizza's rented this premium smartphone for just today. I mean, premium is a bit of a push. Is an iPhone 11 premium? Not in the year 2026. Now you're thinking, George, you're being so rude, just being so insensitive. She probably can't afford a phone, so she has to rent one just for the day. However, if you're thinking that, you would be wrong. Because look at this. This is my actual phone. This pot here is broken. And as you can see, it's a pretty smashed up Android phone. But let's be honest, it's not a great phone, but it does have Disney Plus. It's got Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all the essential apps. And then she says, when I use it for scanning, it's kind of slow. So around once a month, she rents a premium smartphone and uses it to scan documents for her freelance work. Okay, you know what? That's completely reasonable. There's no flexing going on here. If we skip a little bit ahead, friends my age usually use their phones for making videos, creating content and taking photos. You're telling me you rented an iPhone to take this photo? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not a very good photo, is it? You could have taken this on your rubbish phone. But wait for this part. I've also seen someone on the train using it just to show off the logo from the phone. And that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about flexes. So I did some digging and I found some information from Indonesians. As an Indonesian, I can vouch that many Indonesians do this because they need to improve their social status by showing off their achievements when meeting their friends. One of those achievements is placing an iPhone face down on the table when they're eating at a restaurant. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be the latest iPhone. You can just use an iPhone XR and people would think, wow, an iPhone. Honestly, reading that has completely blown my mind. Just because where I live in the UK, it is so different. iPhones are not seen as special at all. They're very normal. The fact they literally say having an iPhone is an achievement is just crazy because it's so different here. They're going to a restaurant with their friends with their rented phone and being like, yeah guys, look at me, I got an iPhone. These people are spending their hard-earned money to rent phones to look rich. They're the ultimate flexers. Literally, they're renting iPhones, going to meet their friends, probably taking loads of mirror selfies, you know, just so everyone can see they have an iPhone. Normal selfies won't do. They can do that on their rubbish phone. They need to take photos where everyone can see they have an Apple phone. They're probably getting as much content as they can in that one day that they can then post over the week to make it look like they permanently have an iPhone. They're probably doing outfit changes and everything. This is what I love to see. This is beautiful. This is flexing at its finest. Like, flexing on social media is one thing. We've all been there. We've all done it. But flexing in real life with a rented phone, honestly, that is next level. There's another tweet here from another Indonesian. It's a huge problem here in Indonesia. Miserable people would buy or rent an iPhone just to be recognized and considered cool. And it's even worse, a lot of people in the lower middle class do this kind of mental illness due to social pressure just to look cool. Makes no sense. Okay, I feel bad now. I don't love this. They're victims of social pressure. They don't want to feel broke, they want to fit in, they want to feel rich like other people. So they're like, well, if I want to feel rich, I need people to think I am rich. It's actually quite sad. Flexing in general is actually quite sad. Trying to convince everyone else, look at me, I have money, I'm rich, please be my friend. As you guys know, flexing doesn't just happen in Indonesia with iPhones, it happens all around the world. Like, yeah, people in the UK aren't renting iPhones specifically, but they do rent stuff to impress people. They'll rent nice cars, they'll rent nice houses, even buy designer clothes just to impress people, to be like, look, I have a Gucci jumper, I'm rich. It is a whole thing of human psychology being like, look, if I look like I've got lots of money, people will think I'm rich and then I'll feel good. However, I don't think it ever really works out because you actually end up being more broke than you initially were because you've spent all your money renting and buying these things to look rich, which actually has made you poor. For me, when I was younger, I always wanted the Beats headphones just because I thought they looked so cool and everyone had them was really cool and rich. And I did end up eventually getting them. I'll be honest, they weren't even that good. They literally broke. But for a short period of time wearing them, I felt rich. And then after that, it just became normal and no one really cared. But in my head, it felt like people people cared. Even recently with the drink Prime, KSI and Logan Paul's drink, in the UK, it was so hard to get a bottle of that. Literally, it was really rare because as soon as it came in stock in shops, people would just buy it and then sell it on eBay for like 10 times the price. Like a lot of school banned children from bringing it in because literally children were bringing it in being like, look at me, I've got Prime, I'm better than everyone else. And it actually works. People were like, oh my gosh, he has got Prime. He's rich. He's so cool. I want to be like him. And that is kind of what's happening in Indonesia. I'm actually interested to know, was you guys part of the Prime hype? What was your sort of hype item? As I said, I had the Beats headphones. That was a thing for me that was like, I want this. This will make me so cool. Yeah, let me know in the comments what your items are, because as you can see, the items in Indonesia are iPhones, which as I said, for most people probably watching this that aren't from Indonesia will sound crazy. Because for example, here in the UK, iPhones are so accessible. Literally everyone that lives here probably could get an iPhone if they really want one. Whereas in Indonesia, because their wages are a lot lower than it is in the UK, it just is not accessible to them. It's only accessible to the super rich people, which has made it this social symbol that only rich people have it because they're the only ones that can afford it. So all these people that aren't rich, as this person said, the lower middle class, they see all these rich people with iPhones being like, oh my gosh, they're so cool, they've got an iPhone. And the only way they can get it is by renting it. Even if it's just to walk around for the day, walking around pretending you're on the phone just so people can see the Apple logo, it makes them feel good. Is it a waste of money? Yes. Because again, you're becoming poorer by doing this, but it is so easy to fall into this trap. I actually saw this crazy stat about Indonesia. The 4 richest men in Indonesia have more wealth than the combined total of the poorest 100 million people. And now we can kind of see why people are renting iPhones. Because the thing is, to rent these phones are not cheap. As you can see, she pays $8.60 per day to rent an iPhone 11. And she says she does that about 10 times a year, which in total is $86 per year. The minimum monthly wage in Indonesia's capital city is roughly $300. Many earn way less. But remember, this $8.60 per day is for an iPhone 11. And I saw this tweet. The funny thing is, renting an iPhone 17 Pro is more expensive than renting a car. So you can understand why Riz is renting an iPhone 11, because clearly the price can get very, very expensive. I also saw this other comment on the YouTube video from another Indonesian. I'm Indonesian, and ironically, the tendency to show off expensive things is exactly what makes people poor here. Fairly low wage is a second reason why people are poor, while the primary reason is terrible budget management. I've seen not only once, but multiple times an entire village relocated by government to build airports or something. They earn a huge amount of cash from the relocation. Guess what they did with the money? They bought themselves a nice car, phone, and many fancy things. Then they get poor again shortly after. Even funnier, they then blame the government for not giving them enough money. It's a classic problem of going broke trying to look rich. And you were actually richer before you spent all this money looking rich. So actually the people that look the most broke are actually the most rich. So really, looking broke should be the real flex, which is rich coming from me. I'm the biggest flex that there is. I also saw this article. It's also a problem in India apparently. How India's love affair with iPhones is creating a generation in debt. And it's basically the same thing. I think that iPhones are a lot more accessible in India. But basically people in India are taking out these phone contracts for iPhone to look rich, to be like, look, I've got an iPhone. But really they can't actually afford to. They're spending all their wages on it and they're going broke by trying to look rich. But I do understand it. Social pressure is a very, very intense thing. When you're around people that have something and there's that pressure that you're left out if you don't have what they have, psychologically in your head you do feel inferior and you're like, oh, no, I need to be better. I want to be like them. I need to get what they have. And as you can see by the article, people are going in debt just to try and fit in and feel special. However, one thing is though, I feel like this whole rental market may be the thing that makes iPhones no longer a status symbol in Indonesia. The more people that find out about this rental service, the less of a flex it becomes, because when people see you with an iPhone, they'll probably look at you and go, oh look, that person's stupid. They've just rented an iPhone. Even if you haven't rented it, imagine you've literally saved up for years, saving your money, working hard to get an iPhone, and you can now finally flex and you walk out into the street and no one actually cares and no one believes you bought it because everyone just rents iPhones. You'd be quite annoyed, wouldn't you? But I feel like this rental market may actually make that change, and hopefully in turn it makes the price of iPhones come down where people can actually buy them and afford to buy them, and there's no longer that social pressure, but that will just be replaced by something else. There's always something to flex and always something to look real, which actually brings us on to our next point, because look, there's a functional reason for renting an iPhone: to take nice pictures, to scan documents efficiently. You're going to a concert, you're going on holiday, you want to get some nice photos, right? It makes sense. However, there are some items that there is no functionality. This is just pure flex. And one of these items is actually quite close to home to me, and that is AirPods. That's right, you can also rent AirPods. Now don't get me started on the hygiene side of this. This is absolutely disgusting. Imagine how many people before you have used these AirPods. Hundreds, if not thousands. As I said, with iPhones, I can understand it. There is definitely reasons, as well as flexing, there's definitely reasons to get one. But with AirPods, they're just earphones. There's nothing special about them. They're pretty good earphones. They're not great. They're not like music engineer headphones that are like thousands of pounds. They're just not that good. And again, this is coming from me, the biggest AirPod flex of all time. For anyone that's new here, when AirPods first came out, this was my profile picture. I had 2 pairs of AirPods. It was a flex, just like it is currently in Indonesia. It's no longer a flex in the UK. It's just normal. People have them here, people don't. In fact, it's actually become a trend recently of wires. Literally, we've gone backwards. Look at this. All these celebrities are wearing wires now. We've got Bella Hadid, Zendaya here, Harry Styles, Emma Watson, Ariana Grande. Look at me. I've even got wires. Wires are back and AirPods are out. But in Indonesia, Indonesia, there's still a flex. This is why I said Indonesia has some serious flexes, because trust me, we're not done there. The AirPods, you think that's bad? Wait till you hear this next part. So if you're a catfish in Indonesia, trying to look richer than you actually are, trying to convince people you're richer and that you own an iPhone and you don't rent it, how do you convince them that you're not a renter? As I said earlier, when you get your phone, you could do some outfit changes, take loads of mirror selfies, post them throughout the week so it looks like you permanently have your iPhone. However, what about if you're just talking to your friend in private chats, or you just want to post on your Instagram story a screenshot? You can't screenshot on your Android phone because people will know you've not got an iPhone. They'll know you're a catfish. You'll get exposed. However, have no fear. Let me introduce you to what I can't believe is actually real, but the market of buying iPhone screenshots. People in Indonesia are paying people with iPhones to screenshot stuff to them so they can send it to them and they can send it to their friends being like, oh, look at this funny thing that I saw, screenshotted on an iPhone because I have an iPhone because I'm rich. When they don't have an iPhone. It's honestly the most dystopian Black Mirror backwards thing I've ever seen. So this is a website called Shopee. From what I can gather, it's kind of like an Etsy of Indonesia. Shopee. And look at this listing right here. Screenshot and screen record services, iPhone Dynamic Island. And that's right, this is literally a listing to buy screenshots of someone's iPhone that has a dynamic island. I don't even have a dynamic island. Maybe I need to buy some screenshots. So as you can see, it costs between 3,000 RP and 7,000 RP, which is 13p in UK money. In dollars, that's 18 cents. Now, if you want a screen recording, that's gonna be a bit more. 7,000 for a screen recording plus song. What even is that? So it's a screen recording and you've got a song playing in your dynamic island. That is literally the craziest flexible. Flexing your dynamic island. It's not much. But if you want to flex that you're listening to Taylor Swift or whoever the hell you're listening to, just screenshot it and post it to your story. No one cares that you've got a dynamic island. I mean, clearly people in Indonesia do, but this is genuinely crazy. And the thing is, this has a lot of reviews, 99 sold. People in Indonesia are loving this. There is no excuse for this. This is pure flexing. I'm currently listening to Taylor Swift Cruel Summer on my iPhone. So I think the way this works is you find what you want to screenshot and you send it to them, and then they then get it up on their phone, screenshot it, send it back to you, and then you then post it to your Instagram story or send it to your friends and be like, ha, look at me, just listen to some music on my iPhone, which I definitely have because I'm rich. Trust me, I'm rich. However, this is not the only one. iPhone, iPad, and MacBook screenshot and recording services, iPhone 15 screenshots and screen recording services, Dynamic Island, original, cool. I know from our point of view watching this, you can just be like, oh, this is stupid. Why the hell are they doing this? They don't need to do this. But as I said earlier, I feel like we've all been in this situation with something, whether it's something small or something big. Whatever country you're in, there's always this social pressure to fit in. Well, to be fair, in Indonesia, they actually don't want to fit in. They actually want to stand out and look rich. Actually, not being rich probably does fit in, but they don't want to fit in. They want to be rich. So yeah, maybe I actually don't feel sorry for them. They're literally bringing this on themselves. But saying that, I do actually feel sorry for them. The fact that something simple as an iPhone isn't accessible to them is not fair. Yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. Are any of you from Indonesia? Have you ever rented an iPhone? Are people in Indonesia as big as the flexer as I'm saying? And as I said earlier, let me know down below your hype item that you felt like you just needed just because it was so cool. Yeah, guys, this video has made me feel broke. I've realized I do not have a dynamic island. I'm broke. So I'm gonna head on to Shopee. I'm gonna buy some screen recordings just so people think I have a dynamic island. I can't be looking broke. Let me know what you thought down below. I'll see you next time.